Destiny 2 update 9.0.0.1. Let me just say, this is the longest set of patch notes I have ever seen in my over 10 years playing this game. I don't think I've ever seen patch notes this freaking long. This is going to be a very long and thick video. All right, new feature, the portal. General, the portal is now the main access point for new activity content and is available directly from Orbit. Kepler destination access, portal activity ops access, event card access, seasonal hub access, tower access, quick launch activity carousel, and information carousel. The portal contains links to the main portal activity nodes: solo ops, Fireteam ops, Pinnacle ops, Crucible ops. TLDR on the portal. This is how Bungie wants you to play, baby. They love the portal as much as they love the damn Matterspark ball. Customization allows players to choose modifiers and improve rewards. There are 4 primary sections to customization: difficulty tiers, activity modifiers, activity preview, reward forecasts. Now, difficulty tiers. There are 5 selectable difficulty tiers at the moment: normal, which is power 10, advanced, which is power 100, expert, power 200, which all of us are going to be trying to get to with the legendary campaign, master, power 300, grandmaster, power 400. Now, activity modifier categories: challenges, unique sandbox-based challenges. Up to 5 per activity can be selected. Banes, random enemies have a unique effect that makes them more powerful. There are 7 new Bane types. Boons, beneficial player boosts, for example, elemental surges. Player stakes, non-sandbox-based modifiers, for example, no HUD or no starting ammo. There is also a new set of static modifiers, the rule modifiers. These include information about how to score points, enemy tier and faction composition, enemy toughness, and Bane frequency. The point on the activity modifier categories here, guys. So you're gonna select an activity, right? Then you will have the ability to also choose what challenge modifiers you want on there. And the reason why that's the case is this could increase the multiplier for your score, and the higher the multiplier, the higher the score, and therefore the better chances of getting better loot. Activity preview section, visible on the right side of activity menu during customization, shows relevant activity details: activity power, power level, difficulty shield, easy, challenging, or impossible. Interesting. Okay. Reward forecast section, visible on the right side of the activity menu during customization. Rewards are based on the reward score. There it is. Final reward score is based on 2 parameters: challenge multiplier. This is Fireteam based, shared by everyone on the Fireteam. You increase this by increasing the difficulty tier and selecting challenges, banes, and player states. Now, reward multiplier. This is player based. You have full control of your reward multiplier. You can increase this by increasing your power level, wearing new or featured gear, and by obtaining scoring bonuses. Now, challenge reward multipliers determines reward score forecasts, rewards that should be expected upon completing an activity. You'll see an engram on the reward display that lists the gear tier, loot pool, and power, and it can be inspected to see exactly what it contains. So this is actually a great feature. Before you go into the activity, you can see exactly what it is that you're trying to go after and what the tier of those items will be. And so therefore, you can manipulate different modifiers to get to the higher tier if you wish. So this is a great quality of life change here. All right, reward score translates to rewards based on 2 parameters. Reward rank, you earn different reward ranks as you level up. Starts at copper, caps at diamond 5. Reward package, each portal activity you play, you will earn a grade. See all the way up to A based on the score you achieve. Eventually, the A+ grade will be achievable as you reach the higher reward ranks. The reward package you get is the reward you earn: gear tiers and power of the engrams, and any currencies alongside the gear rewards. Reward ranks determine the score you need to achieve to get a specific reward package. Now, if you're a visual guy like myself, don't worry, we'll be taking a look at this today. We'll probably even have a guide this week going over all these things. I will say that what's going to end up happening is people are going to find, like, what is the meta modifier loadouts? And it could be like a no HUD run, you know, but what are the easiest modifiers to get you the highest set of gear possible? All right, activity type. There are 3 activity types as far as scoring points go. Final blow scoring, for example, strikes, hunts, and battlegrounds. Kills award small amount of points. Objective scoring, solo ops and exotic missions. Completing objectives grants points. There are bonuses that players can find. Wave-based scoring, featured in Onslaught. Points are earned upon wave completion. Players must score enough points to reach the tick mark on the in-game score bar to get the forecasted reward package. Now, each activity has 10,000 and sometimes more points available to earn before multipliers are applied once the activity is finished. Now, bonus timer. Activities now have a bonus countdown timer. Rewards up to a 50% bonus to your score depending on how much time is left. So again, not only do you want to complete objectives, kill everything, don't die, but also do it in a timely manner. Mid-activity rewards. Mid-activity rewards can be earned in some activities. Longer activities, things like exotic missions, the coil, especially onslaught, have reward chests spaced out at regular intervals. These chests aren't scored like the inactivity rewards, but have quality determined by seasonal power and guardian rank progress. I guarantee there's going to be an activity that we come across with the right set of modifiers that we're going to be like, yo, this is, if you're looking to get gear ready and get the highest tier gear, farm the coil or onslaughts or something else, right? We'll just have to play all of them and see which one is spitting out the most gear and the timeliest manner. Now, challenging enemies often drop rewards like currencies and sometimes ingrams. Quality of the rewards is determined by seasonal power and guardian rank progress. All mid-activity rewards come from the loot pool for that activity. Okay. Now, scoring experience. New scoreboard shows a tick mark at the location where you're guaranteed to earn the projected reward package and turns from white to gold when you do. Good visual indicator. I like that. All right, new kill feed shows a total of recent scoring near the reticle. Only shows the name or class for challenging opponents. Ghost menu now shows your current power. Reward score and reward package are shown upon activity completion. Reward package rewards come from a unique chest at the end of the PvE portal activities. This includes new Ingram visuals that upgrade as the earned gear tier increases. The post-game Carnage report has been updated to show the following: score, time bonus, challenge multiplier, reward multiplier, reward score. Okay, Fireteam Power. Fireteam Power is enabled for all activities in the portal. That's huge. Fireteam Power is, guys, say you have a friend that's really, really high level and they've been grinding their asses off. Their power is going to transfer to you, minus a certain amount, but I mean, not by much. You're always going to be within a certain range of their power. The reward quality is determined, though, by personal reward rank. So each player may earn different rewards. When Fireteam Power is active, each player's reward multiplier brings the personal reward score down to that player's natural power level at the end of the activity. Okay, so you'll be able to do the activities together, but earn different rewards. See what I mean? This is a similar change to how we score match made and other fixed power contents. Now, portal training and tutorial. 7 training tiers are available at Solo Ops and Fireteam Ops. They serve as a highlight and tutorial of portal features. Training tiers have a slightly different selectable modifier availability. Okay. Now, curated quick play playlists. These are for my folks that just want to plug and go. Solo Ops and Fireteam Ops have 4 quick play playlists. They don't allow customization, but have a selection of challenges, banes, and boons. They have 4 difficulties, and you're always at a power disadvantage. So normal, fixed power, advanced, you're minus 10 under, expert, minus 20 under, master, minus 30 under. Now, they have their own scoring system. The challenge multiplier is based purely off the base activity power for the playlist. Instead of using the scoring adjustments for the modifiers, we add to the reward multiplier based on the power disadvantage. Now, the final reward score will be the same as if you had recreated the activity with the appropriate power disadvantage in the customized screen. Now, starting in week 2, expert and master matchmaking tiers are available on Fireteam Op activities with a bonus focus. Similar randomized modifier scheme and scoring adjustments to the quick play playlist. Grandmaster difficulty unlocks in week 4. Interesting. Now, Guardian rank refresh. Guardian ranks have been rebuilt to support the portal and the new core game experience. All existing players will be reset one time to Guardian rank 2. In future seasons, starting in Destiny 2 Renegades, Guardians will be reset to rank 6 as they were previously. Any previously earned rewards from attaining Guardian ranks are kept. Most of the feature unlocks that previously lived between Guardian rank 3 and 7 have been moved to be earned by getting Guardian ranks 2 or 3. Now, the final set of the loadout is still on Guardian rank 7. So we got to get to 7, arguably this week. Now, many Guardian rank objectives have been retired and replaced with new ones to help guide players learning to use the portal, as well as using it to track and reflect their seasonal journeys. No objective in Guardian ranks require any purchase to complete. Good. So it's completely accessible for everybody. And we'll all probably be doing that this week, just so that we can have all of our loadouts available. At Crucible Ops scoring, all Crucible Ops activities in the portal are scored activities. Crucible Ops shares the same reward rank system as the rest of the portal activities. Your power determines your reward rank, which determines the score thresholds for performance grade and reward package. Now, reward score is determined by match score and Crucible reward multiplier. PvP does not have a challenge multiplier, fixed to one time. Something that has been expressed by Bungie is that if you are a PvP dedicated player only, you will be able to level up via PvP. As a matter of fact, it's going to be tied to your individual performance. So right here, match score determined by the match outcome and player performance. A fixed amount is awarded for wins, losses, ties. A variable amount is awarded based on the player's scoreboard stats and team rank. That is whether you're first, second, third, etc. on your team. Bonus score is awarded for achieving mode-specific superlatives. Example, most kills, most zones captured, longest kill streak, etc. These are lobby-wide, round-based modes award a small amount of bonus score per round. Joining in progress and team imbalances are accounted for and factor into match score for disadvantaged players. Now, Crucible Reward Multiplier increases with power, equipping newer featured gear. By the way, I don't know if y'all see this or not, but like, you want to wear the new gear. There's going to be a huge emphasis on you wearing new and featured gear. By the way, featured gear also means the featured exotics, which I think Bungie's going to show in a little bit. All right, so increases with power, equipping newer featured gear and reward pass bonuses. Exclusive to PvP, this also increases with Crucible rank, competitive division, Trials Passage. Now, Crucible Reward rank. Previously, Crucible rank. Your current rank determines your reward rank multiplier, which factors into your final Crucible reward multiplier. Progression is based on individual performance. The higher your player score, scoreboard stat, the more points you gain, the faster you rank up. Higher ranks require a minimum performance grade to gain any points. Fable requires a C+. Mythic and Legend require a B. Now, each major rank up grants you an additional weapon and or armor and currency. Gear, tier, and power of these rewards are equivalent to the highest potential reward packages at your current reward rank. Rank resets not currently available. Interesting. Now, additional rewards. Crucible Ops activities may grant an additional MVP rewards on top of the guaranteed score reward. Gear, tier, and power of these rewards are determined by reward package equivalent to the scored rewards. Now, in 6v6 modes, the top score, rank 1 of each team, earns an additional piece of gear. MVP reward. Wow. A random player between rank 2 and 5 is also awarded an additional piece of gear, additional reward. In 3v3 modes, a random player on each team is awarded an additional piece of gear, additional reward. So only in 6v6 do they reward the top score. In free-for-all modes, the top scorer earns an additional piece of gear. A random player between rank 2 and 5 also awards an additional piece of gear. Now, Trials of Osiris does not grant any additional or MVP rewards. It will come with a later mid-season update. So, Ash and Iron. All right, new features, Seasonal Hub. New home to challenges and rewards to help your Guardian power up during the season. Challenges Hub, daily and weekly challenges, weekly reward track. Player Now Hub features conquests, which are the fixed modifiers. And a Seasonal Title Hub, set of triumphs that awards the seasonal title. Now, Challenges Hub features 2 types of challenges and a weekly reward track. Daily challenges, 3 challenges that target portal activities. Progress resets each day, identical each day to provide a consistent, predictable base of progress for Seasonal Hub progress. Award 1 rank on the weekly reward track, as well as some bright dust and XP. Now, weekly challenges, 5 challenges that also target portal activities, but ask for a bit more focus and effort to complete than the dailies. Progress resets each week. 3 weeklies are identical each week and correspond to the daily challenges. And then 2 weeklies change each week, so be sure to check the requirements before diving into activities. Awards 4 ranks on the weekly reward track, as well as some bright dust and XP. Now, weekly reward tracks has a set of rewards to support power progression. Resets weekly in account scopes. Rewards include currencies, so that being exotic ciphers, unstable cores, strange coins, and bright dust. Now, powerful gear engrams provides a legendary new tiered gear drop. Okay. Armor requisitions allows to claim 1 armory reward from Zavala during the current week. And Arsenal credit allows you to claim 1 Arsenal reward from Zavala during the next week. All right, we'd have to see how this looks here. But yeah, a lot of rotating daily stuff, guys. All right, Conquest. Added 6 conquest activities in the Seasonal Hub designed to offer unique challenges and powerful rewards on your seasonal journey. 2 conquests at expert difficulty, each offering a one-time reward of tier 3 Ingram. 2 conquests at mastery difficulty, each offering a one-time reward of tier 4 Ingrams. 2 conquests at grandmaster difficulty, each offering a one-time reward of tier 5 Ingrams. Update the conquest tier to remove Nightfall triumphs and add new conquest triumphs for earning the title and gilding. All right, so again, removing the conqueror from Nightfall stuff, guys. So it's gonna be all about conquests. Matter of fact, it's gonna be all about the portal. The portal is just where we're all gonna be living. It's not that you can't use and go through destinations, but Bungie, whether it's Guardian ranks, chasing new gear, engaging, getting new items, like everything is going to pretty much be going through the portal. Armory and Arsenal rewards. Commander Zavala now offers a selection of powerful new gear items each week. Requires 2 new currencies, Armory requisitions, and Arsenal credit. Now, the Armory includes a selection of new gear armor choices each week. Up to 2 such Armory rewards can be earned each week. Armor choices are present for each slot across both the PvE and PvP pools. Each Armory reward selection must be different. The same Armory reward cannot be claimed twice each week. Armory rewards have a predefined tier, which increases as the season progresses. Interesting. The arsenal features a different new gear seasonal weapon each week, with up to 5 options to choose from. One weapon can be claimed using a credit earned the previous week. Arsenal rewards have a predefined tier, which increases as the season progresses. Your options to choose from start at 3 with the credit earned the previous week. For each arsenal expansion earned the previous week, options to choose from increase up to a maximum of 5. Now, for each credit or expansion unearned in the previous week, there's an option to unlock in the current week available for Bright Dust. Wait. For each credit or expansion unearned the previous week, there's an option to unlock in the current week available for Bright Dust. Now, hold on. It's not talking about expansion here. It's arsenal expansion. Okay. So we do have another way to spin Bright Dust. What? What does that mean? Now, Bright Dust is a currency that we really only use to buy cosmetic items. You get it from like the season pass, you get it from some bounties, things like that. This is a way for you to spend Bright Dust in order for you to essentially, I guess, catch up if you may have missed the previous week, which is pretty interesting. As someone who has not saved hardly any of his Bright Dust, this really doesn't apply to me. Now, to acquire credit, which provides 1 reward from 3 options, the cost is 1,500 Bright Dust. To acquire an expansion, which provides 1 additional option, the cost is 250 Bright Dust. Expansion 1 can only be purchased if the credit is unlocked. Expansion 2 can only be purchased if the credit and Expansion 1 are unlocked. For season reclamation, the arsenal rewards will begin on week 2 based on the credits and expansions earned in week 1. I'm gonna be honest, guys, we're just to see how this looks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of understand what they're saying here, but I don't really know how big of a deal the arsenal is going to be for me in regards to earning gear, you know, outside of just like the rollover credits that you would carry each week, or even like what the time commitment for that even is. So we'll have to see. All right, activities, new campaign and destination. The Edge of Fate campaign launches at 10 a.m. Pacific on July 15th. Welcome to Kepler. Story missions, quests, general quests, exotic quests. Yes, we're getting the exotic and canon quests. Exotics, destination weapons, destination armor, destination activities, secrets. You have to go find these on your own. The way it's been explained to me is that it's not going to be a linear campaign experience. We'll see how that plays out. I hope that means it's going to be good, but it's not going to be like mission 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? Like your campaign experience may be different than my own. So we'll see how that plays. Now, cruise with Trials of Osiris. Trials of Osiris has new loot, new armor, new weapons, refreshed weapons. Power advantages have been disabled in Trials of Osiris. The minimum power requirements for accessing Trials of Osiris have been adjusted to align with the power cap. So for season reclamation, players must reach the power cap of 200. Passage status determines Trials multiplier, which factors into the Crucible Reward multiplier. Trials of Osiris passage wins up to 7 increase Trials multiplier. Upon reaching 7 wins, you can claim a reward on the passage itself. Interesting. Lighthouse passes wins up to 7, increases Trials multiplier. Active win streaks continue after 7 wins. Lighthouse chest rewards have been rebalanced, but the general structure remains the same. For example, your longest win streak leading up to 7 wins still determines your Lighthouse chest rewards. Feature weapon rotation will not be available until the mid-season updates. Okay, now competitive. New competitive rewards, competitive weapon, season reclamation ascended emblem. Note, this emblem will be added in a later patch. Players who reach ascended rank within competitive Crucible this season will be granted this emblem when it is introduced. Anybody know what this thing looked like? I'm not going beyond ascendant again. Honestly, just going for ascendant, that's doable. Going beyond ascendant, I'm not doing it again. I need to see what this emblem looks like. Competitive advantage determines competitive multiplier, which factors into Crucible reward multiplier. Look at that, baby. If you good, you get better shit. The competitive weapon rewards now drop at a % chance on wins. The chance increases with your highest seasonal competitive division, 20% chance at copper, up to 50% at ascendant. That's really high. 20% at copper? Really? I mean, that's good. That's good. It goes up to 50% at ascendant. So does that mean we're not limited each week to how on our drops? We can play as much comp as we want and get as many rewards as we want. So it's no more just your 3 games and bounce. About damn time, dude. Gear tier is determined by reward package, while power is capped relative to your current power. All right, cutting edge. New loadout restricted playlist that requires a full set of new gear. The full new gear bonus is applied to the Crucible Reward multiplier. Rotates weekly through different game modes and fireteam sizes. Each mode has a curated set of 5 maps for the week. This playlist is locked until Friday of the first week of the season. Okay, I'm curious to see how this plays out. It's going to be a new loadout restricted playlist. You are going to be required to wear a full set of new gear. It's going to be interesting. I wonder how many people are going to play it. I'm going to play it. I just wonder how many people are going to play it. All right, ammo changes. The special ammo meter has been re-enabled in Crucible with some changes. Let's go, baby. Filling your meter will notify enemies that you have generated an ammo brick. In 3v3 modes, all players will have ammo icons underneath their super icons in the HUD to alert opponents and teammates as to who has ammo. Initial special ammo crates now spawn after 30 seconds instead of immediately in all game modes, matching their behavior in trials. You can now retain up to 3 times starting ammo after death. Ammo above that amount will be lost. You'll continue to start the game with 1 kill's worth of special ammo, but you will no longer spawn with fresh ammo every life or at the beginning of rounds. Note the heavy ammo meter and bonus ammo bricks from 100 plus weapon stats are not enabled in the Crucible. All right, ammo meter is back, dude. I like it, baby. I like it. This is why they took it offline for a whole year. They were working it into PvE. Now, modifiers. Not swap modifiers now active in all Crucible activities that are accessed via the portal. Wow. A new modifier is now visible in orbit and in game when you bring up your ghost menu that tells you your quitter status, and while in game, it will tell you what will happen should you leave. I like it. Okay. Heavy metal. Brig and Drake tank looked stick controls now respect player sensitivity settings when using controller. Secondary weapon targeting time reduced for both the Drake tank and the Brig. Brig-based movement speed has been increased to match the Drake tank. Brig firing animation has been adjusted to better reflect firing cadence. Timing matches Drake tank. Brig's projectile speed now matches the Drake tank. And Drake tank's destruction garbage bits no longer collide with the Brig. Garbage bits fade quicker. Yeah, we have a game mode called Heavy Metal, guys, where it's Brigs versus tanks, pretty much. It's pretty fun. Raids and dungeons. New raid, the Desert Perpetual, or as you fuckers like to call it, the DP. Launches Saturday, July 19th at 10 a.m. Pacific. No spoilers. You're reading sub bullets for a no spoilers patch notes. We're not even halfway done with these patch notes. Buckle up. It's a Saturday launch, everybody. Thunder Doctrine fixed an issue where alternate characters were unable to advance beyond step 2 of the Drowning Labyrinth quest. Vesper's Host fixed an issue where some players are not able to advance beyond step 6 of the Rogue Necro quest. Fixed an issue where radiation debuff was not clearing when dropping a nuclear core or safe distance from puppets. Okay, Warlord's Ruin fixed an issue where on the final stand of the last encounter, players were sometimes not being teleported. Oh, man. What a bait, brother. What do? You just sit there and then you have to restart? Spire of the Watcher corrected an issue where the attrition buff is not being displayed in the intended space below the health. Garden of Salvation fixed an issue where the concentrated mind would run away faster than it should when hit by certain weapons and abilities. All right, legacy content changes. Vanguard Nightfalls are now on a daily rotation and include all strikes and battlegrounds. You heard that right, daily. Grandmaster Nightfalls have been removed. No, the portal now offers Grandmaster equivalents for PvE activities. Goodbye, GMs. Goodbye, man. Rest in peace. It's been, I mean, what, almost 8 years? 6 years? 7 years? 8 years? Onslaughts have been moved to the Fireteam Ops node in the portal starting in week 2. Pull one out indeed, dude. Crucible. Only 3v3 quick play, 6v6 quick play, rumble, and private matches are available on the Legacy Crucible screen. Control, competitive, and Trials of Cyrus have been moved to the Crucible Ops node in the portal. Bungie's like, you're going to use the portal and you're going to like it. The modified playlist has been removed. Lost sector changes. Each destination with higher difficulty lost sectors has its own daily rotation with one active each day rather than a single global rotation. This should help players earn specific lost sector triumphs and title requirements without having to wait for multiple destination rotations. We're looking at you, Gumshoes, and training. All right, so UI UX general fixes. Fix an issue. We're opening the character menu by clicking on the button prompt in the director UI would load a blank character screen. Fix an issue with the loadout screen where masterwork borders in specific cases would not appear correctly after overriding a loadout. Fix an issue that made the managed invite icon flash without any actions to perform. Fix an issue in which the triumph screen was not being updated correctly when removing triumphs from the records. Fix an issue in which the clan screen was not displaying the correct name for the season in progress. Fix an issue in which the radius of the cursor hover on Europa was too wide. General, new title screen for the Edge of Fate. Dark wallpaper, don't worry. Director destination and map tabs have been merged together under a newly named rule tab. Navigate between the current map and destination using up, down arrows on console, WS buttons on PC. Activity launch screen. Clicking a difficulty no longer closes the legacy difficulty screen, making input a bit more consistent with other detailed screens such as weapon and armor inspect. Okay. Items. All seasonal expansion and event icons in the corner of the gear have been updated to accommodate gear tier and new gear iconography.
Iconography.
And new gear iconography. We'll never say that word. I'm never going to use that word again. Item hovering menu. Consolidated the display of most perks and modifiers to show as a row of icons at the bottom of the screen. Description of non-intrinsic perks and modifiers can still be seen in the more info expanded screen. Move the comparison more info buttons, hints to be above standard buttons, hints on the screen so that they are easier to see. Added back flavored text to the screen. Character screen. Added a display that shows your currently active armor set bonuses. Updated the character stat hovering menu to show incremental bonuses from stats, as well as when stats are granting enhanced benefits. Now, gear detail screen added a help section that describes a variety of gear concepts. This describes concepts that apply broadly to gear as well as specific weapon or armor concepts. Enhanced perk tabs now show a short description of their enhanced benefits. So someone brought it up the other day. I think it might have been Moxie maybe, but it was brought up that in game, there really isn't a lot of direction to how builds should work. And so I think a big goal with this expansion is to make things more understandable, have more tooltips in game. You know, it's cool to go find someone and to watch a video and plug a dim link, but it's even better if someone can organically make their own builds, right? Collections added a featured gear section for both exotic weapons and exotic armor, which shows all exotics that benefit from the new gear bonuses for the current season. We're gonna take a look at that list in just a second. That's gonna be an important list. HUD added an ammo meter display, which shows progress towards the next special or heavy ammo brick. Enemies displayed their nameplates if they have a Bane and which Bane is active. Added a display to the right side of the HUD, which shows buffs or debuffs from the current activity selected modifiers. All right, gameplay and investment. Difficulty changes. Several adjustments have been made game-wide to damage curves and power ranges. Difficulty is now more linear. 100 over, this should feel roughly equivalent to even power during the final shape. Even power, this should feel slightly more difficult than the same during the final shape. 40 under, equivalent to Grandmaster difficulty in the final shape. 100 under, immune enemies. Yeah, just don't do damage. Match made activities in the portal have the following values depending on what you choose. Normal, even, advanced 10 under, 20. 20 under is expert, 30 under is master, 40 under is grandmaster, and then we have a mode called ultimate now, which is 50 under. Note, the new difficulty curve affects majors and ultras, orange and yellow bar enemies more than it does regular enemies, that being red bars. With the previous scaling, all enemy types scaled evenly. Red bars do not increase in health nearly as quickly as elites and bosses as they grow in power. Interesting. Okay, kill triggered perks will be more useful in high-end content than previously. All right, difficulty curve in legacy content. Returning content in high difficulty tiers now have fixed difficulty similar to the corresponding portal tiers. These include Nightfalls, legendary campaign, exotic rotator missions, and various activities standard through master. All have been converted to fixed difficulty in a manner matching the corresponding portal tier and inherit the same improvements in difficulty progression. Some modifiers have been removed from these activities or updated for new game mechanics. Surges are now a bonus on top of the expected baseline player performance. These modifiers no longer rotate. Legacy raid and dungeon content also has been converted to fixed power difficulty level. Normal mode matches the previous difficulty settings. All right, armor system stats. Armor stats no longer require round numbers of 10 to improve their effect. Instead, their effects scale with each individual point. Fellas, if you want to rock 69 all the way down, that's fine, man. And guess what? You're getting benefits from that. Armor stats now provide two benefits. One benefit is provided from 1 to 100 points, but a secondary enhanced benefit is provided in addition to the maximum 1 to 100 effect from 101 to 200. It is going to be worth it to dedicate your stat distributions to a single stat to 200. And Bungie's probably going to go into that in just a second. Replace the 6 core Guardian stats with new behavior. Mobility is now weapons. 1 to 100 improves weapon reload and handling speeds. It also improves damage versus minor and major combatants. And 0 to 15% for primary and special, and 0 to 10% for heavy. Straight up, the mobility stat is now called weapons, and it is a stat that increases your damage of your weapons against enemies. Now, if you go beyond that, 100 to 200, this grants a chance for ammo bricks produced to contain more ammo than normal. It also improves damage versus boss combatants and guardians. 0 to 15% for primary and special, 0 and 10% for heavy. And yes, you saw this right, against guardians, bonus weapon damage versus players, 0 to 6%. Not gonna move the needle all that much, but it's enough, man. 6% will be enough for you to get a 2-tap, depending on, like, you know, I would think like a 120 with like a single stack of like Rampage guaranteed 2-tap. I'm doing my math right. Resilience is now health. 1 to 100. Grants 0 to 70 healing when picking up an orb of power. Didn't think that was going to be that important, but since recuperation has been nerfed, kind of important. Also grants a 0 to 10% flinch resist. All right, 100 to 200. Shields start recharging 0 to 25% more quickly and take 0 to 50% less time to fully recharge. 0 to 20 additional shield capacity versus combatants. We'll see just how valuable resilience is going to be, or I guess in this case, health is going to be. Bungie knows just about every PvE player out there was rocking high resilience armor pieces. So it's to no surprise that they've done a switcheroo for the mobility weapon stat and resilience and health stat. All right, recovery is now your class stat. 1 to 100 improves base cooldown of your class ability, improves the amount of class energy gained from external sources and any class generation speed scalers from other sources. Now, from 1 to 200 grants a 0 to 40 HP overshield. That being 0 to 10 inside of PvP on casting your class ability. Y'all remember the battery perk? Oh, Jesus. What was it, like arc battery back in the day for hunters? When you would dodge, you would get an overshield. Think of that. You know what I mean? Obviously, 10 is not a whole lot. I will say 40 inside of PvE. It's not just 40 HP. It's a 40 HP overshield, which has more damage resist. That's pretty nice, dude. I mean, that's substantial. And just by using your class. The duration is determined by the ability to use. I mean, you can see a world in which someone's rocking max class ability with, say, Wormhusk. You're getting a health bump, overshield bump. You know what I mean? All right. Strength is now melee. By the way, if you're wondering why these name changes are taking place, it's to stupid proof things. You know, if you're looking at strength, you're going, what does this mean? Well, now there's no confusion. You know melee means melee. 1 to 100 improves the base cooldown of your melee ability, improves the amount of melee energy gained from external sources, and any melee regeneration speed scalers from other sources. Now, 100 to 200, this is where things get crazy. A 0 to 30% increase melee ability damage. Just stacking your melee stat up is going to give you more damage. This includes powered, unpowered, and glaive melees, and it's a multiplicative bonus, not additive, that everything else is going to be. Discipline is now grenade. Again, stupid proofing. 1 to 100 improves the base cooldown of your grenade ability, improves the amount of grenade energy gained from external sources, yada yada. Now 0 to 200, get this, 0 to 65% increased grenade ability damage. I got any Verity users in here? Or even if you're using like the reworked Starfire protocol, that's just gonna be nasty, man. All right, now intellect. Intellect is now super. 1 to 100 improves the super energy gained from damaging targets. It does not change the base cooldown time of your super. So this right here is in bold for a reason. In the past, you take intellect to drive down the time of your super. That is not the case. Intellect just improves the super energy gained from damaging targets. Now, improves the amount of super energy gained from external sources and any super generation speed scalers from other sources. But this one right here, from 100 to 200, 0 to 45% increased super ability damage. That's just, boom, more damage by just simply having stats distributed into super. The question that I really have is how is this going to affect things like Still Hunt? Say you're rocking Still Hunt in a Celestial, you pop your golden gun, you got your single shot. Is it going to be the weapon stats that increases my damage from Still Hunt, or will it be my super stats? I don't know. That's the thing. We're gonna have to test. We're gonna have to test. Could it be both? That's a great question too. I don't know. I don't know. These are the things that we're gonna need to test this week. I would argue and say today is going to be the day we hit all the new content. Tomorrow and Thursday, we're going to be testing probably all day long. Now, effects for your current stat investment, including your equip abilities cooldown, are displayed in each stats hovering menu. Note, for ability stats that affects cooldown, 70 should roughly be equivalent to that ability's previous stat being at 100, and 30 should be roughly equivalent to 0. Okay, so a squeeze, if you will, a squeeze. All right, now deprecated stats which have no equivalent effect in Edge of Fate have had their effects applied to all Guardians based on a specific value. Okay, so for all Guardians, effects previously granted by 100 resilience are applied by default. What? Really? For all Guardians, the effects previously granted by 60 recovery are applied by default. For Titans and Warlocks, the effects previously granted by 30 mobility are now applied by default. For Hunters, the effects previously granted by 40 mobility are now applied by default. So Hunters by default should have more mobility. Yeah. That's surprising. Updated stat mods now provides the new Armor 3.0 stats. All stat mods have the same mod energy cost. Mods that provide plus 10 stats cost 3. Mods that provide plus 5 stats cost 1. They've equalized them, right? Armor 2.0 conversion, including existing roles of exotic armor, will be updated to align with the above changes. Stats will be converted 1-to-1 into the new system. Note, roles may appear different at first glance as the order stats are displayed has been changed. Artifice mod slots, exotic artifice upgrades, and Armor 2.0 Masterworks will remain unchanged for all Armor 2.0 with the exception of Stoicism, Solipsism, and Relativism. Some examples. A piece of armor that provides plus 28 mobility will now instead provide plus 28 weapons. A Masterworked Armor 2.0 class item with a Strain Artifice mod inserted will now provide a total of plus 2 health, plus 5 melee, plus 2 grenade, plus 2 super, plus 2 class, and plus 2 weapons. I thought hold on. I thought our class items are being like, wait a minute, what are the stat distributions of our class items supposed to be? Are we going to be getting stats added to them, or are we going to have to farm new class items? 30, 20, and 13. Okay, so they are being converted to the new system. They're going to be 30. Okay. 30, 20, and 13, and they're being converted to the new system. No, I'm talking about legendary artifice class items. Those are being converted, correct? Only for our exotics, brother. Well, better get the farming. Okay. New armor. I mean, there would be nothing to convert, right? I know that. I just didn't know if we would get them anyways. I mean, this right here, this last line just tells me it's worthless. That's just my opinion. All right, new armor set bonuses. Added the Armor 3.0 system, which is used for all new armor sets added in the Edge of Fate and beyond. Armor will provide up to 2 set bonus perks, provided for equipping 2 and 4 pieces of armor from the same set. All the Armor 3.0 would drop with full mod energy. Masterworking now provides +1 to your 3 lowest stats on the armor per level, up to a maximum +5. This is instead of the previous +2 benefits to all stats when fully masterworked. Now armor will now roll with 3 stats. A primary stat, your highest, a secondary stat, your second highest, and a tertiary stat, your lowest. I randomly selected armor archetype, which determines the primary and secondary stat of the armor. A piece of armor's total stats are determined by its gear tier. All right, baby, all right. We cooking. Exotic armor stat updates. Exotic armor has been updated to use the Armor 3.0 system. Exotic armor pieces are not tiered. Instead, they will roll stats as if they were a tier 2 with a whopping 58 to 63 total stats, 73 to 78 when masterworked. Fixed collections rolls for each exotic armor piece have been assigned based on their playstyle as an emergency option for players that don't have a roll on hand. These rolls have a 52 total stats before masterworking. We knew this was going to happen, guys. I will say this. Doesn't mean it's not ass, though, Bungie. Doesn't mean it's not ass. Note, we updated exotic armor so that it can benefit from the changes made with the Armor 3.0 to masterworking and how stats rolled. We plan to add a system that better fits the role exotic armor plays in your build at a later date that allows you to access the benefits of higher tier armor. Now, to support guardians that need to rearrange their stats based on the above changes, one-time exotic armor focusing will be available during the year prophecy. All accounts that have full tower access, that is completed new light at least on one character prior to the release of the Edge of Fate, are eligible. Now, 20 exotic requisition orders can be claimed from Ada per account. Each exotic requisition order can be exchanged for 1 exotic with Ada. Available options include all non-class item exotic armor from before the Edge of Fate's release that you have acquired. Each armor piece will focus with an armor archetype of your choice. Okay. Essentially just giving you 20 exotics there. Now, exotic class items have been updated to use the Armor 3.0 system. Unlike the above updates, this includes all copies, including those already in your inventory or vaults. Now, the archetype of Stoicism, Solipsism, and Relativism is determined by their left column perk. So these are all going to be curated. The tertiary stat of Stoicism, Solipsism, and Relativism is determined by the right column perk. These items will no longer have access to the exotic artifice upgrade and will lose any existing artifice mod slot. What? Man, I wish we got like refunds for this shit or something. You know what I mean? Like, I wish we got like, hey, we know you spent a lot of ciphers. You know what I mean? Ammo system changes. Ammo is now earned deterministically game-wide by filling a meter, with progress gained from kills and assists. The amount of ammo granted by bricks and PvE has been modified correspondingly. The inventory stat has been deprecated from weapons and replaced with the ammo generation stat, which improves how many points kills and assists contribute toward the ammo meters. So that ammo meter that you've seen in some of the gameplay, that is how you're going to be getting ammo inside of PvE, and it is deterministic. Inventory for most weapon types has been fixed or greatly reduced in its variability based on rate of fire and magazine size. Now, we have several newer rework sets of mods that allow you to modify the ammo meter. Ammo finders now improve contributions to the corresponding meter and can stack, and special ammo finders are enabled in Crucible. Reserve mods on chest armor have been deprecated and replaced with ammo generation mods, which improve the ammo generation stat of weapons matching their damage type and can stack. Scavenger mods will continue to work as before and continue to be disabled in the Crucible and cannot stack. Scout weapon mods have been deprecated. And then new activity modifiers have been created, which can increase or decrease ammo meter contribution. This system provides us with a significant number of new tuning levers for balance, and we look forward to gathering your feedback and further improving the system after launch. Notes, due to back-end limitations, swords do not currently have an ammo generation stat and will all deal the same amount of progress. This progress can still be scaled by ammo finders, though ammo generation specific weapons and armor mods will have no effect. Okay, so no sword meta for us. All right, melee damage scaling updates. Systematic updates. All melee damage increasing build crafting items have been converted to use additive damage stacking. Every item that has been changed as part of this has been listed below. There is a single exception to this. The melee stat increases the damage of melee abilities from 100 to 200, stacking multiplicatively with additive damage buffs. Melee damage increases no longer scales scorch and ignition damage caused by melee attacks. All right. Good Lord, it's going to go through all of them, isn't it? Okay, Glaives. Glaive melee is now considered to be a type of unpowered melee ability. They now receive melee damage increases at full effect in all cases where an unpowered melee ability would, including the damage increase from Syntheseps, Knockout, Offensive Bulwark, Combination Blows, Spark of Feedback, Wormgod Caress, Banner, War Stylist, Executioner. Glaive melee now triggers all effects that are triggered by any melee ability. They will no longer benefit from some weapon damage bonuses such as Radiant. Effects that modify the behavior of basic melee attacks such as Titan Aspect Knockout, changing the damage type of a basic melee attack from kinetic to arc, will not affect the behavior of Glaive melee. Glaive melee damage in PvE has been adjusted to compensate for their increased access to melee damage increasing effects. Glaive melee damage against minors and majors has been reduced 40%. Against champions and mini bosses reduced 28.5%. Against bosses of vehicles reduced by 50%. Now, look, don't be too concerned. We ran the numbers. Legendary Glaives are looking pretty good with the stacking capabilities and the things that it can actually pair with. So they look pretty good. And then we needed to just test out Winter Bite by itself because it is getting a nerf, you know. So we'll see. All right, abilities. Titan, Roaring Flames. Maximum PvE melee damage bonus increase from 73 to 200%. As notes, Roaring Flames increases solo ability damage and Glaive melee is always kinetic. We've opted to follow the rules as written for this one for now, so Roaring Flames does not scale Glaive melee damage. Melee damage bonus against is no longer decreased when used with Peregrine Grease, Wormgod Caress, 1-2 Punch, or Syntheseps. Knockout PvE uncharged melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 160%. PvE charged melee damage bonus increased from 50 to 160%. Increased melee damage now works with Glaive melee at full effect. Let me just say this about melees. Before, it was all about stacking as many buffs as you possibly can, right? And not that that's not going to be important, but it's not going to be as important. Matter of fact, single buffs are the thing that's going to be the most beneficial. So for instance, a Fletched Storm with a Wishful Ignorance, that is going to do a tremendous amount of damage. It's getting a substantial buff, and you don't even really have to build into it outside of maybe Banner of War. But even then, you don't have to. Offensive Bulwark PvE melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 160%. Increased melee damage now works with Glaive melee at full effects. Melee damage bonus no longer decreased when used with Syntheseps. Banner of War melee damage bonus for users and allies increased from 40 to 100%. Melee damage bonus no longer decreased when used with Wormgod Caress, Syntheseps, or Glaive melee. The damage bonus provided to Blade Fury's melee attacks is unchanged. Hunter Stylist Executioner PvE melee damage bonus increased from 200 to 300%. Now works with Glaive melee at full effect. Now works with every melee ability if the ability makes contact while you are leaving invisibility. In other words, projectile melee abilities like Thread Spike will benefit from the damage increase if you use it at point blank. Passive Courage PvE melee damage bonus increased from 10 to 50%. Spark of Feedback PvE melee damage bonus increased from 75 to 100%. Now works with Glaive melee at full effect. PvE melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Syntheseps, Solaris Handshake, Knockout, Wormgod Caress, 1-2 Punch, or Winter Scowl. Combination Blow maximum PvE damage bonus increased from 309 to 400%. There's actually an error right here. We're gonna have to test it out because I think it caps out in the current sandbox set. I think it was 260%. I can't remember. It was in the 200s though, and that was due to a nerf back in Heresy. So we're gonna have to even see if it's actually gonna be 400%. Increased melee damage now works with Glaive melee at full effect. Now works with Ascension in PvE at full effect. Now works with Grapple melee in PvE at full effect. Let me just say Grapple melee is gonna be the big asterisk on this one with its overlap with grenade buffs. Now armor, Hunter Exotic, Arthur's Embrace, PvE weighted throwing knife damage bonus increased from 200 to 300%. That's a big buff. Not just a big buff. This is going to be knives are going to be doing a lot more damage. Exotic, Hunter Exotic, Liar's Handshake, and Spirit of the Liar. PvE basic and arc melee damage increased from 200 to 400%. Hunter Exotic, Fidious Spade, maximum PvE throwing knife damage bonus increased from 100 to 200%. Hunter Exotic, Trident Vice, PvE Glaive melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 200%. Honestly, you know what I love about Trident Vice? I just love that it just amps the fuck out of just the projectile. You know what I mean? Like, this is cool, I suppose. I would just rather them just, give me some more damage in the projectile. I'll just keep using it like that. Titan Exotic, Heart of Endless Light, maximum PvE melee damage bonus increased from 20 to 50%. Now increases the damage of empowered Glaive melee abilities. Titan Exotic, Peregrine Grease, shoulder charge ability impact damage bonus against non-champion, non-tormentor, non-mini boss targets increased from 363 to 400%. Okay, Titan Exotic, Syntheseps, the Spirit of Syntheseps melee damage bonus is unchanged. Melee damage bonus no longer decreased when used with combo blow, Stylist Executioner, and Glaive melee. Damage was still decreased against players when used with Lightning Surge. Titan Exotic, Wishful Ignorance. Oh, this is the big one, baby. Maximum PvE Frenzy Blade melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 200%. This one right here. Maximum PvE Fletched Storm melee damage bonus increased from 50 to 200%. It's gonna wreck, brother. Titan Exotic Worm God Caress. Maximum PvE melee damage bonus increased from 275 to 400%. Melee damage bonus no longer decreased when used with Roaring Flames or Glaive melee. Warlock Exotic Winter's Guile. Maximum PvE melee damage bonus increased from 275 to 400%. All right. Moving on to weapons. Close to melee. PvE Glaive melee damage bonus increased from 30 to 60%. Really. It's going to be good. It's going to be very solid. 1-2 punch. PvE melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 150%. Now works with all melee abilities. Melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Lyra's Handshake. Increases the time the perk is active to 3 seconds. What happened here, brother? Bastion, same fist PvE melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 300%. Now works with all melee abilities. Increase the time the perk is active to 3 seconds. Monte Carlo, Catalyst melee attack, no longer deals reduced melee damage to bosses, mini bosses, and champions. Winter Bites is now able to receive melee damage bonus from a variety of sources. Reduce enhanced melee damage with ammo to plus 20% versus bosses, down from plus 50%. Again, we just need to see if it's a multiplicative bonus though, instead of additive. We'll see. Armor, legendary armor, removes seasonal armor perks released as part of the Witch Queen and Lightfall seasonal content, as well as intrinsic perk on episode Echoes, Revenant, and Heresy armor. These perks provide no benefit as the related currencies, vendors, and perks they were tied to are no longer available. Yep. Exotic armor. The following exotic armors that grant ability energy or scale ability energy recharge rates now are scaled by their respective character stats. So the stacks, Speedloader Slacks, Alpha Lupi, Radiant Dance Machines, Bacchus, Frosties, Heart of Emos Light, including the Spirit version, Halifire, Heart, Controverse, Hold, Eye of Another World, Crown of Tempest, Nezrak Sin, Sunbracers, Graviton, Forfeit, Caliban's Hand, Vesper Radius, Prometheum Spurs, Mask of Fealty, Kepri Sting, Omnioculus, Point Contact, Cannon Brace, Lucky Raspberry, Ahamkar Spine, Ursa Furiosa, Starfire Protocol, including the Spirit version, Osmiomancy, including the Spirit version, and Ashen Wake. Interesting. Hunter Exotics. All these changes are in addition to the melee damage changes outlined above. Speedloader Slacks adjusted the tight fit perk. Dodging reloads all weapons and grants increased handling and reload speed for you and nearby allies. While this buff is active, additional dodges increases the strength of the buff and refreshes the timer. Dealing sustained damage will grant chunks of class ability energy. Dragon Shadow, which is about to be really good right now. Your weapons now passively are more stable and ready quicker. Activating Wraith Metal Mail increases passive stability and handling. Reloads equipped weapon, grants increased movement speed, sprint, slide, ADS, stray speeds, all improve, increased class ability stat. I cannot express. I mean, I expect every hunter is going to be using Dragon Shadow, and you should. Mask of Bacchus drops surge damage bonuses. Light Shift now grants plus 10% damage for stasis and arc weapons and Lord of Wolves. Look at that. Lord of Wolves is thrown on there. Kills while Light Shift is active, grants a portion of class energy. Light Shift now stacks 3 times. Now also legal on arc subclasses and arc supers. Kepri Sting dropped the True Sign to Smoke Punch perks. Added new perks. Killing weakened targets creates a burst of weakening smoke and returns smoke bomb energy. Blight Ranger, my beloved man. I hope this thing becomes meta. Fixed an issue where the cancellation damage was not consistently scaling based on voltaic mirror progress. Adjusted voltaic mirror meter behavior. Now it takes 25% less reflections to reach maximum. Feels more evenly. And blocked melee attacks count as a reflection. Brother, if I could sit there and just sit there right on top of a boss. Like, imagine we had a boss that just stomped constantly and just let them stomp themselves to death. You know what I mean? All right. Maximum cancellation damage increased by 50%. This is the addition to the fix above. Minimum cancellation damage increased by 150%. Now applies blind before dealing damage. Updated visuals, audio, and timing of the blinding shockwaves better reflect its impact. This is my concern with the whole blind before dealing damage. Like, you want the boss to blow its load in you. You know what I'm saying? You don't want them to be blind. Not that most bosses don't be blind, but like even like a champion or something, you don't want them to be blinded. You want them to, if anything, you want them to more aggressively attack you, right? You see the conflict here that I'm envisioning. This is my concern with the blind ability. All right, Oathkeepers increase top end damage bonus to 200% from 150%. Bent the curve on the damage bonus to give more of the total damage bonus earlier in the overdraw. Be nice. Should be nice. Titan Exotics. In addition to the melee damage changes outlined above, Phoenix Cradle added new perks, dealing sustained solo weapon damage, and the sunspot extends its duration, providing solo buffs to allies as a chance to create a sunspot at your feet. Updated VFX on the sunspots while the user has Phoenix Cradle to look more clearly supportive to allies. Crest of Alpha Lupi. Sustained damage behind a barricade now triggers another smaller healing pulse. Added a new perk, killing your allies grants barricade energy. Do that and like the support auto rifles, you know what I'm talking about? 44 stand asides. Sprinting with Juggernaut. Active periodically grants you a stack of static charge. Sprinting while amplified creates an area behind you that grants allies speed booster. All right, Path of Burning Steps. Increase solar weapon damage and solar ignition damage based on the number of stacks of roaring flames you have. Reduces time you are suspended, slowed, and frozen. Can be really nice against the new enemy types or new enemy types. Avian Leap increases the spin duration when applied by enhanced Stringer Slashes. Actium War Rig. This is going to be so hot. Kills with auto rifles or machine guns increases stability, ammo generation, and damage. Stacks 10 times. Higher stacks bleed off more quickly. Guys, this is exactly what I'm using. Actium Rig first time today. If you are a Titan, I highly advise you use Actium War Rig. And if you don't have Quire, that's fine. Break out Tommy's matchbook. Just use Tommy with Actium War Rig. Or if you don't even have that, sweet business. And just go to Pound Town, man. All right, Warlock Exotics. In addition to the melee changes outlined above, Starfire Protocol now also activates on radiant damage. Increase the on damage gain to 5% from 2.5%. Reduce the on kill gain to 15% from 20%. So I think Starfire is going to be back. We'll just have to see, guys. And the fact that it can activate on radiant damage is pretty significant. It's not just in power, right? A lot of Warlocks right now are like, no, Verity is just better. I like to believe, though, that Starfire's back. We'll see, though. Wings of Sacred Dawn combatants are less accurate towards you while the perk is active, similar to Mana Core. Solo weapon, final blows now grant restoration and reload your stowed weapons. Sanguine Alchemy. Switching to the exotic now applies a 10-second cooldown before its perks can be activated. We are eyeing a future release for a more holistic solve on curbing mid-encounter swapping behavior. When that comes, this will be removed. Okay, so Sanguine Alchemy, a lot of Warlocks use it so that they do their swaps for damage phases and increases their damage substantially. So this is their way of dealing with that. Fellwinter's Helm. Added power melee damage weakens targets. This is a 50% weaken. Power melee defeats still create the 30% weaken bursts. Prometheum Spurs. Rework the perk Embers of Light. While the Solar Super is equipped, weapon defeats grant class ability energy. Weapon defeats in a rift grant a different solar verb depending on the rift. Interesting, dude. That's wild. While in a healing rift, weapon defeats create a pulse that grant radiant to you and nearby allies. While in an empowering rift, weapon defeats instead grant cure to you and nearby allies. Dude, there's going to be... For me, the Spur, I mean, I would love to see people actually using it. It's never even been... most people even forget it even exists. But there's a play here, especially with like the radiant granting there. There's a play here that you can pair this with your teammates, especially somebody's rocking like Starfire Protocol or whatever else. You know what I mean? Boots of the Assembler. Noble Seeker behavior improvements. Noble Seekers no longer spawn in waves and instead spawn at a constant rate based on Fireteam size. Average number of Noble Seekers produced per 8 seconds is unchanged. It will produce 1 per ally in that time period. Noble Seekers tracking range changed from 20 to 40 meters based on the time alive to 40 meters always. Noble Seekers will prioritize allies who have not been healed in the last 8 seconds than allies who are closer. Noble Seekers can now target allies standing in the rift producing them. Noble Seekers will not target an ally more than once every 4 seconds. Noble Seekers will not detonate when passing near an ally they are not targeting. They will still detonate if they make direct impact with an ally they are not targeting. No longer grants extended rift duration on Noble Seeker impacts with allies. Instead, grants class ability energy on Noble Seeker impact with ally skills based on the Fireteam size. Dude, Bungie really wants us. Yeah, I mean, dude, Boots of the Assembler Lumina is such a fantastic combination. I remember seeing people use Boots of the Assembler and Pantheon, and the Gorgoroth encounter was actually pretty clutch. Geomax Stabilizers. Reduce super energy granted bionic traces to 4% from 7%. Retune Sprinting to top off bolt charge. Sprinting to top off bolt charge now activates at 5 stacks down from 6. Sprinting continuously for 1 second will start granting bolt charge down from 2 seconds. Grants a stack every 0.33 seconds of further sprinting down from every 1.55 seconds or 1.5 seconds. Exotic class item, Spirit of Alpha Lupi, added a new perk, killing your allies, grants class ability energy. Spirit of Starfire inherits the changes from the base exotic, good. Spirit of the Dragon, update the perk based on the above changes. Your weapons ready quicker and are more stable. Using your class ability temporarily increases the benefits and reloads your equipped weapon from reserves. Okay, so it doesn't get all the benefits, but that's how exotic class items work. All right, so Masterworking, only for new armor. Masterwork levels reduced from 10 to 5. Only for new armor, Masterworking now increases stats, not armor mod slots. All armor mods are available without Masterworking. Infusion costs of new armor changes based on their tier. For more information, consult the July 3rd TWID. The main thing is for this is like the higher the tier, the more it's going to cost, right? All right, armor mods. Reduce the benefit granted by the font. This is huge. Font armor mods from 30, 50 to 60 for 1, 2, and 3 stacks to 20, 40, and 50. It's still going to be very good. Font mods are about to become the most meta mods in the game. Reduce the healing granted by collecting aura power with recuperation armor mod equipped from 70 to 15. Absolute murder, man. Added new leg armor mods, enhanced athletics, which increases your base movement speed and jump height for 1, 2, 3 stacks, provides the equivalent of 30, 50, and 60 of the previously available mobility stats. Armor or ghost mods that no longer match the stats armor have been deprecated in favor of a new set of mods. All right, weapon system. New weapons in the Edge of Fate have a new cosmetic mod socket called Combat Flare. For players who have obtained sweaty confetti, it can be applied to these new weapons in this location, and it's not consumed on these weapons. Weapons before Edge of Fate can still apply the consumable version of sweaty confetti in the weapons mod socket. Stage reload. Machine guns now have a stage reload. This places checkpoints in the reload animation. When a player cancels a reload animation and it starts again, it will resume from the latest of these checkpoints. So I completely misunderstood this. You see, I thought that say like I did half a reload animation, it would reload half my mag. But that's not the case. It's just going to start from where you left off. You see where I'm coming from? Weapons that contain fragile weapon mods from episode Heresy will have those mods removed as they have expired. Players can apply their normal mods. Updated weapon crafting progress and trials so that losses contribute the same amount as wins. Deep side drop rates are improved in Dares of Eternity upon the retirement of the guaranteed weekly deep side rewards from the legend version of the activity. Updated the Pale Heart so that after resetting the Ghost Vendor, the drop rate of deep side Pale Heart weapon increases. Impact stat. The impact stat is now considered an expert stat and only shows up upon inspecting the weapon. Archetypes. Wave frame weapons. Fix an issue where wave frame damage would make a target immune to similar archetype wave frame damage from other players for a short time. Arrow denial grenade launchers. The VFX for the lingering pulls now scale appropriately when perks such as reverberation and danger zone are active. Get the fuck out of here. You're telling me these perks actually mean something? For the past year, they have meant nothing. Glaives. Reduce projectile tracking behavior at close range to avoid some behavior that made the projectiles less accurate. Shotguns. Heavy bursts corrected an issue where they were not receiving the intended damage buff from an earlier patch. Rocket launchers. Most rocket launchers now get 2 shots per ammo crate pickup in Crucible. Wow. Linear fusion rifles. Corrected an issue where some burst linear fusion rifles were not getting the right amount of ammo from heavy ammo crates in the Crucible. Be surprised. Linear fusion rifles, especially our burst fire ones, are actually meta inside of comp. But we'll see after the rocket changes. Weapon tiering. New weapons will drop with gear tiering. Tier 1. This is your basic weapon, your shite weapon, your weapon that means nothing. Normally an instant delete outside of power progression. Tier 2, enhanced traits. Tier 3, drops with 2 traits per column. Tier 4, enhanced weapon mods, enhanced components as barrels, mag, etc. And then Tier 5, baby, enhanced origin traits. 3 traits per column, access to a unique ornament, and a combat flare. Should be hot. To be hot. New tier weapons from the current season will benefit from the new and featured gear bonus, gaining additional damage depending on their weapon tier. If this wasn't enough for you up here, don't worry. Your tiered gear will do more damage than other things. At tier 1, you'll be doing 2% more damage. Tier 2, 4%. Tier 3, 6%. Or tier 4, 8%. Tier 5, 10%. All right, Exotics. Two-tailed Fox. Correct an issue where it was not receiving 2 bursts per ammo crate in Crucible. Choir of 1 updated the hipfire reticle to better show spread state. Vigilance Wing. Bonus can now activate when running solo and PvE activities. Hierarchy of needs. Player now gains charges of guidance ring with any hit from a hierarchy of needs. Players now only need 3 charges to deploy the ring. Hierarchy spawn guidance ring duration increased from 13 seconds to 20 seconds. Its spawn guidance ring now rotates to face its owner. So a little quality update there. Players are now limited to 1 guidance ring in the world per player. Spawning a second one will remove your previous ring. All bows now spawn missiles when fired through an ally's player's guidance ring. Yes, all bows. Fix an issue where hierarchy secret missiles would not play detonation visual effects when colliding with the world geometry. So think of hierarchy as the Gallahorn of bows. So you can imagine someone places a ring and then everybody has Leviathan's breath or something, right? They shoot through your ring. They're getting the increased damage. Definitely something we need to be testing this week. It could be substantial. Deadman's Tail. Each stack of Cranial Spike now grants 3.4% damage versus the combatants, max at 17% at 5 stacks, plus 1 rounds reloading. Pretty nice. Duality. Added a secondary activator for on black wings. Now gives the buff when landing most of your pellets on a target. The Navigator added a damage bonus for the weapon while the user has woven mail, 25% in PvE, 5% in PvP. Also increases the weapon ammo generation stat while the user has woven mail. Wicked Implement here now is a rapid fire instead of just being precision, which is really nice. I think Wicked Implement is going to be one of the best weapons this season. Now it takes 1 additional hit to start slowing and to freeze to account for the faster rate of fire, which is completely fine. Bumped up the magazine size. Hard Shadow. Increase ammo reserves. Reduce cost of heavy attack to 3 from 4. Added defeats while shot in the dark is active. Makes you invisible once more. Roll line 0. Increase lunge distance of the heavy Tesseract attack by 3 meters. Remove the ability to chain 2 blink attacks back to back. Added a new effect. Defeating a target with Tesseract allows you to Tesseract again for a short duration. These extra blink attacks cost less ammo and consume less guard energy. Devil Ruin. Remove firearm release behavior. Beam is now behind a special reload. Kills makes fire sprites. Fire sprites enable the special reload. Beam now scorches on hit and ignites on kills. Increase magazine size to 20. Alright, time is maxed with General. Added a burning screen effect while the player takes self-damage from an ignition trigger. Other players who are taking self-damage from an ignition trigger will have a burning effect surrounding their model. Ignition trigger. In the HUD, the overheated debuff has been removed and replaced with a buff that reads as ignition trigger. This buff now appears as a bar. Now, while ignition trigger is active, the bar changes as you fire the weapon and drains when you don't. So long as the bar has some charge, ignition trigger will remain active. Now, heat sink. Hip fire self-damage now does 50% less damage when ADS self-damage, previously 33% less damage. Catalyst removed, improved health regeneration. Now, final blows while ignition trigger is active grant cure ×1 to the user. That's massive. The scorch on hit is unchanged. So as long as you're getting kills, like you can imagine, Tommy, acting war rig, you're blasting. As long as you're getting kills, you pretty much just stay healed. Winter Bite. Reduce enhanced melee damage with ammo to 20% versus bosses, down from 50%. This is a count for this. Now being able to receive melee damage bonuses from a variety of sources. Ace of Spades. Reduce the delay of the precision kill explosion. Okay. Increase the damage the explosion does against players by 50%. Okay. Determinants of Chaos. Fix an issue where the weapon was unable to pierce non-champion shields. Fix an issue where the weapon's intrinsic anti-champion properties could get wiped away from outside sources of anti-champions such as Radiance. Vex Mythic Class. Fix an issue where this weapon's automatic fire couldn't be interrupted by initiating a reload. Alright, perks. Reconstruction. Increase the amount of ammo transfer per activation from 10 to 25%. Paragon's Affinity. Added a visible timer to the buff. Kinetic Tremors. Pretty much across the board here, guys. It got a buff. Everything. From high impacts to hand cannons to all that jazz. Kinetic Tremors, which was already such a good perk, even better now on just about everything. 1-2 Punch now works with all melee abilities. Perk active time increased from 1.22 seconds to 3. Attrition Orbs. Increase perk progress by 20% across the board, but reduce perk progress by 80% with aerial denial grenade launchers. This is surprisingly not as noticeable as it sounds. We'll see. Increase perk progress by an additional 30% on swords. Eager Edge. Valiant Charge. While active, melee search angles now reduce 50% at the start of the lunge range and 88% at the edge of the lunge range. This requires the player to look more at their target to strike it, improving specific target acquisition in PvE and requiring a more direct look in PvP. So a nerf inside of PvP, a buff inside of PvE. Eager Edge. Fix an issue where the perk could briefly remain active when swapping weapons during a third-person animation. Chain Reaction. Thread links created by weapon perks will no longer activate the detonation from Chain Reaction. Chain Reaction, Dragonfly, and Firefly. These perks no longer use weapon archetype scaling against combatants and instead use unified damage scaling that is more normalized between different weapon types. This buffs many weapons with these perks against targets. Does it show what it is? Okay, it doesn't show the number here, guys, but it's substantial. It's like 40-something%, 50-something%. I mean, it is big buffs that are hitting Chain Reaction, Dragonfly, and Firefly. And it depends on the weapon type, of course. The stabilizing rounds. This perk will no longer activate volatile rounds when a void burst occurs. Wild card. Fix an issue where the celestial bolts generated by this order trait would delete themselves when colliding with objects like ammo bricks. Recycled energy. Fix an issue where enhanced recycled energy generates no energy. Fix an issue where the perk would only grant grenade energy. Other updates. Updated instances of the Immortal Adept so that players can properly toggle barrels. Fix an issue where the Luminarch did not generate light transcendence energy for the prismatic subclass when fired with perfectly drawn shots. Fix an issue where shattered damage from freezing with tessellation could be attributed to tessellation and not counted as shattered damage. Fix an issue where the support frame auto rifles could have their sustained healing effect application fail during certain encounters or when certain buffs are present on the player. Fix an issue where the support frame auto rifles could fail to interact with or break certain objects when fired too close to them. This also reduces the chance of enemies' health bars rubber banding and changing over the network while using support frame weapons. Fix an issue with the... What the fuck machine gun is that? Could be acquired through new light quests without barrels and magazines. What kind of a gun is that? Well, you got a gun, new light, you got a machine gun that you couldn't even... You had no mag or barrel perks? It was just what? It was just 2 traits? Fix an issue where the Rose handgun could be acquired with incorrect perks for players competing in the competitive placements for the first time. Updated the perfect pitch submachine gun so that instances can properly weapon level through kills and activity completions. All right, that was a ritual weapon. All right, abilities, bug fixes, fix an issue. We're switching grenades on prismatic while alive. Could make some armor and weapon perks fail to grant grenade energy until you die. Fast travel, return to orbits. Good God, this thing just keeps going, brother. All right, Warlock, Prismatic. Reduce the number of fragment slots provided by the following aspects. Hellion from 3 to 2. Bleak Watcher from 3 to 2. Prismatic. Yep, Weaver's Call aspect can now generate threadlings on any final blows instead of just strand final blows. Void, Pocket Singularity. Got a buff. Never going to use it still, but got a buff. I guess specifically against bosses, of all things. Titan, Prismatic. Reduce the number of fragment slots provided by the following aspects. Concentration going from 3 to 2. Solar. Consecration, increased fragment slots provided from 2 to 3. So on Solar, good. On Prismatic, got a nerf. Throwing Camera, melee. Energy returns on pickup are now instant. Ball Camera really is bad. What? Prismatic Strand, Drinker's Lash. Increase the track and strength of the Suspend Wave and Abbey and Leap Exotic Armor Suspend Wave. Increase the Suspend Wave travel distance from 20 to 30 meters. Increase Abbey and Leap Suspend Wave travel distance from 30 to 35 meters. A Prismatic Solar Consecration Aspect. Ignition no longer has a 20% bonus damage. A Void Chill Throw. Increase projectile tracking strength by 77%. God, we need it, dude. Arc Storm's Keep Aspect. Benefits no longer stack when standing behind multiple barricades. All right, Hunter, General, Gambler's Dodge. Melee energy return no longer requires dodging near an enemy. You do want to be about 70 melee stat. Prismatic, reduce the number of fragment slots provided by the following aspects. So Ascension going from 3 to 2. Winter Shroud going from 3 to 2. Prismatic Solar. Gunpowder Gamble. Reduce self-damage from Gunpowder Gamble. Also, final blows of all kinds now grant Gunpowder Gamble progress instead of just solar kills. Big buff. Solar on your mark aspect. Final blows while at 3 stacks of on your mark now make you radiant for a short time. Activating your class ability now gives 1 stack of on your mark instead of 3 stacks. So Arc Ascension. Ascension now activates the following perks on your armor mods. Reaper, Powerful Attraction, Outreach, Distribution, Bomber, Dynamo. Big changes, man. And your exotics, Heart of Inmost Light, and Gerfalcon's Reserve Shield. All right, all classes. General, increase damage versus bosses, mini bosses, champions by 50% to the following grenades. Arc, Flux Grenade, Arc Bolt Grenade, Flashbang Grenade, Storm Grenade, Void, Axiom Bolt Grenade, Suppressor Grenade, Solar, Firebolt, Trip Mine, Kinetic, the Rock Grenade from Forerunner. Ability energy returns from the perks and passive regeneration now scales based on the requisite stat. Prismatic, Faster Courage, fix an issue where Faster Courage gets stacked with Well of Radiance. Void, Devour, reduce Devour healing amount from 208 speed to 140. Strand, Suspend, increase base suspend duration from 5 seconds to 6 seconds. Stasis, Shatter damage now stuns overloads instead of unstoppables. GG's, Tenacious. Arc, Flux Grenade, significantly reduce base cooldown time, increase projectile size to make it a bit easier to stick targets. Okay, actually, Flux Grenade is going to be meta inside of PvP. Power Progression, Powerful Refresh to 10. We're all getting reset. Power Cap is now 200. Earn power up to 200 by finding gear anywhere across Destiny 2. Activities in the portal will offer increased progression. Completing missions and finding secret chests in the Fate Saga expansions will offer the fastest progression. Artifact bonus power is being removed and replaced with new seasonal bonus power ban. Seasonal bonus power will now live right on your weapons and armor. Earn new gear with seasonal bonus power levels by playing activities in the portal. Completing harder activities will grant more and higher levels of seasonal bonus power. Seasonal bonus power will go to 450 when the Edge of Fate first launches and receive an increase to 550 with Ash and Iron major update later this season, which will be in September. And we'll be going back to the Plague Lands. Like artifact bonus power before its seasonal bonus power will refresh at the end of the season. Example, an item at 350 power with 150 levels of seasonal bonus power will refresh to 200 at the start of the next season. Now, Infusing gear will now use enhancement cores directly and no longer require upgrade modules. Upgrade modules can be dismantled for 1 enhancement core plus a glimmer. Infusing items with seasonal bonus power can be done using unstable cores. Dismantling items with seasonal bonus power will reward unstable cores. The amount of unstable cores required for infusion depends on the amount of seasonal bonus power levels being infused. Unstable cores will have a large cap and refresh at the end of the season alongside seasonal bonus power. Now, Fireteam Finder, all portal activities aside from solo ops have been added to the Fireteam Finder. New titles and tags have been added to support advertising and searching for the appropriate group. Titles and seals. Dude, Zer, dude. This is actually updated Zer's technology quests reward progress for completing activities in the portal with progression bonus based on performance grades. Average activity duration is succeeding with clanmates. Zer will not sell legendary armor in the Edge of Fate. Legacy armor sets that Zer previously sold have been moved to 81. Zer will now sell 2 exotic armor pieces per class per week. One will be from the existing pool of exotics Zer has always sold. One will be from Beyond Light, the Witch Queen, Lightfall, and the Finder Shape pools. Players must own the expansion these exotics are associated with in order to purchase them from Zer. Zer will now sell the 3 legendary weapons per slot per week. Xur will no longer sell Nightfall Ciphers, Syrian Ciphers, upgrade modules, or ritual engrams. Xur has had weapons from the Fallen Sources added to his wear. Nightfalls, Trials, Brave Arsenal, Episode Echoes, Episode Revenant, Episode Heresy, Legacy Competitive Crucible. Xur will have a rare chance of selling adept versions of weapons for 41 strange coins. Non-adept legacy weapons will continue to cost 17 strange coins each. Xur will continue to sell catalysts, but they have been moved to strange gear offer submenu. Gunsmith Ingrams, Iron Ingrams, Trials Ingrams, Crucible Ingrams, Gambit Ingrams, and Vanguard Ingrams have been removed from the game. Nightfall rewards will no longer be on a weekly rotator. Legacy rewards will be on a knockout list. 81. Transmog bounties have been overhauled. PvE bounties that have been completed everywhere in PvE activities no longer sends players to specific destinations. Blind Will, Ultra Sorrows. PvP bounties can now be completed in any PvP mode. Raids at dungeons unchanged from previous versions. Updated clan bounties to focus on activities in the portal, reducing the overall number of available bounties by 1. Okay, Rahool has had a reputation track removed. Novel focusing for exotic armors from past expansions will be available to players immediately with no need to decrypt ingrams to unlock. Access costs remain the same for the novel focusing. Focus to summon has been reordered to put the most use screens up front. Zavala Brave Arsenal weapons will be moved to the part of Xur's wares. Only the standard non-foil version of these weapons will be available. Zavala will no longer offer on-site 2 minutes. Go, baby. Get the hell out of here. Let's play this damn game.
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.